right, Republicans and Trump are attempting to destroy the country's most basic freedoms, our dearly held democracy, to impose their agenda by force, whether people want it or not, right? And they have been unnervingly successful in that project in so many ways. Yes, they want to mess with elections. They want to render public opinion meaningless, no longer a check on the actions of the people who we elect to represent us. But it's still there and it still matters. They haven't won that battle yet. In stark political terms, not the sort of balance of forces of their legal assault or whether they have the courts on their side or whether American institutions are acting cowardly. No, in just sheer political terms, do the American people like what Trump is doing? Do they approve of the MAGA agenda? No. Trump today is as weak as he has ever been in those terms. Tim Miller is a former RNC spokesman, now writer-at-large, The Bulwark. Claire McCaskill is a former Democratic senator of Missouri, and they join me now. You know, Claire, there's clearly a kind of breakdown in how public opinion is registering with Republicans in Washington, I would say. If you thought about a Democratic president at 39% at this point, I think you'd see a lot more defections in the Senate. You'd see a lot more defections in the House. You'd see a lot more freaking out. You'd see a lot more articles. You know, what are we doing wrong? How do we course correct? You've started to see a little bit of defecting in Senates on tariffs and things like that. Do you think there's any point at which the gravity of those politics start to function, or should we just acclimate ourselves to this is how it is?
Well, I mean, there's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome going on here. These Republicans have been trained over a decade that he can say up is down and get away with it. He can say the sky is purple and everyone buys it. He can lie incessantly and they're all supposed to go along with a smile on their face. And they don't really know how to stop at this point. You know, clearly he's got this really calcified base. But one of the byproducts of surrounding yourself with yes men, like he has done in this particular administration, is nobody is going to give him bad news. This is the emperor with no clothes on steroids. They're not going to explain to him that he's upside down on the ballroom. He's upside down on healthcare costs. He's upside down on the economy. They are all going to go, yes, sir, you are wonderful. You're the best ever. And he is going to take that and he's going to live it. And we are all going to watch as his numbers continue to disintegrate, especially around the economy.
And they do, you know, Tim, at some level, right, there does seem to be this floor that's very helpful, right? There's sort of this, to Claire's point, whatever the psychology is, like, they're like, look, we're going to govern at 39% and do whatever. And we're kind of used to that now. And we don't really trust the polls anyway. And we think we can pull some rabbit out of the hat, or maybe we can redistrict 20 districts, right? And it won't matter what the polls say. But one of the things that I do wonder about is the notion of being a lame duck, right? We haven't had this since the late 19th century. Someone's elected and they're a lame duck right away. Part of the kind of Jedi mind trick about a third term is a kind of projection so that never enters anyone's head. Like, oh, there might be a day after this kind of political thing. There might be a battle for who succeeds him. It does seem to me they've been successful so far, but I do wonder how long they can stave that off.
Yeah. Well, it was a great intro, Chris. I agree with everything you're saying about how it's a sign of their weakness. I will correct you on one thing. Steve Bannon usually wears 3 shirts, not 2. But I do think that this whole third term talk is a sign of his utter weakness, right? This idea that, like, even that it would be plausible that they would think that their best option would be an 83-year-old king in 4 years. So I just shows a lack of confidence about who might replace him and whether they can keep the coalition together. I think the thing that protects him from lame duckism and the thing that protects from these Republicans abandoning him, in addition to what Claire said, is that unlike other presidents at 39%, like, his poll numbers are not dropping equally across the board. You know, when George W. Bush's numbers dropped, you know, after Katrina and as the Iraq War started to go bad, Republicans, independents, Democrats, were kind of going down on him equally. That is not the case now, right? Like, Trump is still at 90% with Republicans, and it's just his Democratic approval rating is like 2, and the independent rating is dropping to 40 to 30, right? Yeah. And so as long as the Republican number is 90, these Republicans aren't going to move.
Right.
And that number is not going to change, and the lame duckism won't come into play unless there's real material harm done to them, and we're seeing some of that in farm country and elsewhere. But I just think that's I think that's the one thing that's protecting him from just total weakness at this point.
Yeah, I do think, on the economy, the farm country, Claire, that's real. The Times did a great piece the other day about the Iowa economy. I knew that things were rough there, but I didn't realize it's, basically GDP contraction of 5%, right? Like great recession level contraction having that state. If you look at the Republican governor, Kim Reynolds there, she's got the lowest approval rating of any governor in the country. So, there's a little bit of that basic mechanism of like, are things good? Do I like the incumbent is sort of playing out there. The economic threat continues to me to be the biggest one, right? Like the thing that voters say they care the most about is the economy and the cost of living. The thing he's got the lowest scores on are the economy. The thing in some ways he has the least control over, and in some sense has been the most destructive on, has been that as well. That continues to me to be the thing more than everything else